friends, Mrs. Harris here. Our I Can statement is I can create an original cityscape using a mix of modern and medieval architecture styles. We're going to just use a ballpoint pen for this assignment. We'll be looking at some medieval architecture from Europe. We'll also be looking at the way European cities look. So much different than American cities. They had to build them tight and close together, on the coast perhaps, because maybe they were a coastal community. Maybe that's where their income came from. Or if they had a city where you had to be able to get to work, you couldn't take a car or a train because they didn't have those things then, so that you would have to be able to walk to your place of employment. Here are some examples of line drawings of some buildings. Again, their architecture is completely different than here in America, the way that we have built things, because their architecture is much older. Remember to make your windows consistent. Remember to have buildings overlap. Remember the texture. All right, so when I started my ballpoint pen medieval city, I lightly drew in some outlines for the buildings. You can do majority of your work with a pencil, but it's got to be done lightly. And again, if you're drawing this hard, that's not lightly. The one thing I want you to be really careful of is there's a little bit of a difference. These two here, these are gel pens. Those will work fine. And then this is a ballpoint pen. If I go to erase my pencil right away, you'll notice that the gel pen sets up quicker. The ballpoint pen does not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna write with my ballpoint pen. I'm gonna set it aside and bring it back in about 10 minutes. And then we can go ahead and start working with it. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna use the gel for this, for the purposes of this. I've really made sure that my buildings have overlapped. I've really made sure that my buildings have different toppings, because remember how ornate those were? Remember you watched that video before we did this. And you can choose if you want your paper to go vertically or horizontally. I'm gonna work on the horizontal one for now. You wanna think about, I could pencil in all the windows and everything. You wanna be really careful, because we don't want your windows to end up, you know, where you've got a series of windows and then by the end they're different sizes like this and such. You really want to make sure that you keep them about the same. Please don't worry about using a ruler. Just do them your best, because again, that's what's going to make it more unique. When we start to use a ruler, we get too stuck. So I'm just going to basically start like we always do, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outline everything. But before I leave, I'm gonna go grab that piece of paper, and I'm gonna show you now, because it has sat for a little bit. Now it can be erased. All right, you can see I've added a variety of windows. There's lots of different ones, but what I wanna talk about now is the finishing of the building. So I'm not gonna do the entire building, but I will do parts of the building. So for example, right here, if I wanted to make this look like it was made out of brick, I am going to pull straight lines. And again, I'm just doing my personal best. I'm not looking for perfection here, because again, we're just using a pen. The one thing you want to be careful of is that your brick lines don't line up with your lines in your windows. So I'm going to stop here because I don't want too big of an empty space. But if I was doing brick, I'm going to space them the pieces apart about the same. Now the easiest way for me to do this is I take this line, skip, and I draw it again. Take this line, skip, draw it again. Skip, draw it again. Draw it, skip, draw it, skip. And you're gonna make mistakes. It's just part of the process. And again, it's how you fix that mistake and how you turn it into a good mistake. And again, don't let it stop you from working, because don't think, oh my gosh, this is going to be too hard. I'm going to screw this up. Let yourself try this. This is going to be a fun one, because again, there is a lot of room for error here, but I want you guys to do your personal best as always and just enjoy it. Now see, I just made a mistake. I made too many brick lines here. So maybe what I'll do, I've got an idea already how I'm going to fix it. So I've got the same pattern going here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to increase it. So it's gonna look more like a decorative brick in the middle of the wall. and it's kind of like I intended it to be there. I can go through and I can add every other one, add a little bit of a value, because again, that's something that we're going to be working on here, is creating values within this image, because we're not coloring things in with our ballpoint pen or our gel pen, we're just going to add value in. So that's one way to do brick. One way to do stone is to kind of make the rock, but then you've got to give it space for where the concrete would be in to kind of hold it. And again, kind of think what a rock might actually look like to try to make it look somewhat realistic. All right, let's look at the roofs. I've put 3 roofs up here intentionally. You can do a shingle that is similar to a brick, where you are going to pull these lines. And then it's the same concept, except look how this is on an angle, so you're going to want to make sure you angle your lines. Same idea. And then here you're going to pull this way and begin to straighten them out. And then go ahead and pull. All right, and again, you're gonna wanna add some kind of a texture on there, and it might be just simple hatching. I've been working on this. This takes a lot of time. You can see that I have finished the rocks. I've added a little bit of lineage to create a value. And again, I want you to notice that sometimes we make mistakes, and that's what I made right here. If you look at this real closely, you'll notice that it looks like the way I've drawn these lines, like the roof is almost going in. So I decided to fix it and I went over it. The other thing I did is I turned these into what kind of looked more like logs. So again, you're gonna make mistakes with the pen, but it depends on how well you fix your mistakes. You want to create those values, and this all has to do with the lessons that we've been working on. Think about the pumpkins. We did shading for value. Think about the Zentangle tree. You guys were doing different pencil techniques where you would do the hatching, and you would do the cross hatching, and you would also do the scumbling, and you could also do the stippling with the dots. Those are all things you can do to create value with the ballpoint pen. And that's something that you're gonna wanna do. Once you're done with this, you're gonna cut this out. This would be my negative space back here. I'm just kind of drawing in the area, and I would cut out along the edge. I would leave a lip, so I would have a lip running, a white lip running all the way around it. And then you're gonna mount it if you have construction paper. If not, you can finish the background, but the kids in school are gonna go ahead and cut theirs out. You wanna, again, finish it all, lots of fun detail. I'm nowhere near close to being done, but I know you guys will finish. Have fun.